Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Grits and Glitter. I'm Rev Skip. I am an author, a speaker, and an activist. And this is the podcast that gets down with the get down.
We do. That's what we do. Hey, everybody, I am Terry Dyer, also author, activist, and speaker. And this really is the podcast where we really just get with the black folk. That's what we do. And we amplify, we uplift, we bring our people to the light. That's what we
That's
do.
it.
That's what we do.
All
That's what
right.
this is about.
And we're back in the saddle. It's been a
We
minute, T. It's been a
are.
minute.
We are. We just took a summer break. That's all.
It was a long summer break,
That's all
child. That
we
was
did.
July.
I mean, we did take a little, and we are a new podcast, so I'm hoping all you listeners and fans out there that started with us, you still around because
Yes.
we did take a little hot minute off for the hot boy summer.
Well, we had how many people asking us wherever we traveled? It was like, when y'all doing another episode? So here we are
We
in
are.
demand, and I'm grateful to be
Yes,
back in the saddle with you, brother. How you been?
absolutely.
Catch up time. A lot has happened.
It has been, a lot has happened. A lot has happened. We have been traveling all over this country trying to bring our people together from a healthcare perspective. We have been speaking, we have been singing, we've done it all. You know,
We've had two
we have some
hurricanes too, y'all.
we'd have been through hurricanes, we'd have been through breakups, we'd have been through moves. What else we got?
I know. Wow. So let me just ask you, because you're in Florida and I moved to LA. I did a big move to LA. I've been talking about it. How
Yeah.
was the hurricane? What was it like going back to back hurricanes in Florida, which I did not
Well,
experience?
yeah, I think for me it was more so the seeing on the news, of course, the
Yeah.
tornadoes. You know, I was born in Kansas City, Kansas. We were accustomed
Ooh,
to
Dorothy.
tornadoes, and that's
Child.
right. Me and Dorothy, me and Toto go way back.
Surrender, Dorothy.
Um, that's right. That's right. We, I was shocked by seeing that here in Florida, the tornadoes on the news and everything. But again, I'm in South Florida, as you know, so we just got hit with hard rain and winds. The winds were a little scary. I was sitting in my bed last night working on the laptop, and the winds was like shaking the window a little bit and loud whistling. I said, "Wait a minute, who's that outside my window? Is there a man?
Yeah.
You trying to get in my window? You whistling? I know I'm cute, but." Is you whistling through the window? What's
And,
happening? But it
and
was the wind, so
a hurricane will tell you you have not talked to your family in a bit, because I had cousins from Alabama and
yeah,
saying, "Are you okay in Florida?" And I had to go, "Oops, I'm sorry, cuz I didn't tell you I moved back to LA."
right. You
And
didn't
she
even
got
tell
all of it.
nobody.
I know, Ronnie, cousin Ronnie was like, you didn't call me?" And I'm like, "Ooh,
You're
yeah."
bad. You're
My
bad.
bad. But it was
You're
amazing
bad.
being, not amazing, let me put it into perspective. When people would reach out to me and say, "How are you doing in the middle of the hurricane?" Or even people coming up to me right now and going, "Thank goodness you're here." My whole reply has been, and now we get to pray for our brothers and sisters on the west coast of Florida, because Fort Lauderdale is pretty okay. I mean, there were flooding, there was winds and everything. But Tampa? Child, Tampa.
Everybody basically on the West Coast side of the state really got hit hard. So hopefully, again, praying everybody's okay. I definitely had some friends text pictures of their homes and posted on social media their homes and trees down and that sort of thing. I will say, my new building that I just moved into,
Yeah.
there was a couple of trees down across the street here at Hagen Park. So that was a little surprising to see.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's
Yeah.
catch up. We both went through a breakup.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, oh. She
how was
back on
that
the
for
market now,
you?
y'all.
I know. I got to say, for me, we're still pretty kind of good friends, and we kind of chat on text and all that. And I called it a conscious uncoupling. We both knew it was time for us to separate. I knew I was coming back to Cali. He was going to come to Cali. We weren't really coming together the way, couples do. It was this time.
Yeah.
So it was easy, but there were moments here in California where stuff started to come up, and my whole experience, oh, that's here to heal me. So maybe times of missing or times of anger or whatever. So I'm in this place of I'm still learning lessons about me and
Yeah.
who I am and the type of relationship I want to be in. So yeah, it was a time of learning, a time of growth, spiritual growth for me. What was your breakup like, brother?
I want you to tell us the title of what you called it again, because I don't think I've ever heard that before. So I hope y'all out there listening, y'all are watching, y'all catch that. That's a good name for it. What is it again?
A conscious uncoupling,
Uncoupling. I feel like
aka
you should follow that up with like indubitably or something like
you,
that.
you know, and all the black folks that listen to this, he done broke up, y'all. Just say what it is. He
Y'all
done broke
right,
up.
right, right. That's all that is.
He,
That's what
he
that
done broke
means.
up.
Right.
Conscious uncoupling.
I like it. I like it. You know, my breakup was a bit abrupt, a bit shocking. We went through the last few weeks, went through a few things or whatever. I will say in the last few weeks, I have found myself being, processing. I went through a move and all that type of stuff, and work got crazy. I was in the hospital on one of our trips, as you know, so
Yes.
things got a little crazy. But over the last couple of weeks, I've started to process the breakup, and I will say somebody's real heartbroken. I will admit it to all y'all. As strong as I like to pretend that I am sometimes, or exude that level of strength and confidence, she was very heartbroken about it. I definitely thought that we were heading toward futuristic plans, and I was heading back to California to be with him and all that kind of stuff. So this one was very tough. So hopefully I don't get choked up right now, because I can feel myself getting a little bit. But that one was that was a hard one for me. So yeah,
So our
but I
follow up
believe everything happens for a
question
reason. So
for my follow up question for both of us, and got to get real honest with this: are we ready to get back out into the field? Are we ready to play that game again? I know I'm not yet. You know,
no, child. And yours was a lot longer than mine, right? Mine was
that
only six
breakup
months,
was
even though
like,
we were.
I'm
Listen,
sorry,
you
that
was in
breakup
it,
was a long time
right?
coming.
Right, right. But I think for me, no, I'm not ready, because obviously for me, I'm still not over. This is still very much brand new. It happened just over a month ago that we split
Yeah.
up. So for me, I am 100% not ready to head in any direction. I'm not over him at this point. So
Mm,
until I'm officially like at that space, and hopefully I do get to that space, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't say the L word or say that I'm in love with somebody if I don't mean it. And I said those words. So that, I don't know about y'all out there, relationships can get a little complicated for us black folk, but for me,
for all of us
that's
folks.
that's my soul. That's my, I'm
Yeah.
saying this because I believe it wholeheartedly and with my mind, body, spirit, and soul. So I think sometimes because life gets you, you get busy, you are working
Mm,
hard, and sometimes folks feel like they're not getting the attention that you need to be giving them or whatever, but it's like you're still working to maintain that relationship. And we were 3,000 miles apart. So that makes it an even more difficult to maintain when you have the type of lifestyle and schedule that I have. So that was a big part of the breakup as well.
you mentioned something, so I'm going to go back, just take a step back. You mentioned something about the L word, and I am on the opposite kind of spectrum on the polarity experience of love, because as a minister, a New Thought minister, science of mind, we teach everything is love. We're in a field of love. We're walking in a field of love. Love is all that there is. Excuse me. So a friend of mine here in LA says, you overuse that word love, because I will be the first person to go, child, I love that, or I love that person, or I love that experience. And it's coming from a place of recognizing that we're in a field of love. But I've been contemplating how and when do I use that word love? Because we did say it very early, and I did feel it, but I said it, and I shared with him, and I was very vulnerable in that moment. And he did share with me, and we did. So we were saying it for early. Is there a time that you feel that it's right for us to say the L word?
That's a good question, because one of the things that I'm around a lot of friends that are married or in these long-term relationships and so forth. And I always think when I see someone, especially as gay folks, right? We get into the relationships, we're like, ooh, we all in love. Girl, it's been 5 minutes since you've been in this relationship. Okay, what you know about love after 5 minutes of this relationship? Okay.
Ooh.
But I feel like for me, it takes me some time, and I've known this
Yeah.
for years, right? I definitely, and it's gotten better for me as I've gotten older and understanding who I am as an individual because I'm a firm believer, and you can't be right with somebody else if you're not right in the eyes of God and with yourself, right? I'm a firm believer in that. So for
Yeah.
me, I have finally come to that space where I'm good in my own skin. I'm comfortable. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. And so I
Yes.
feel like I'm now ready to take on someone else's space in that capacity, right? And so for me, I just felt like this is my person. Like there's a lot of love, there's a lot of
Yeah.
respect, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of admiration with this person. So for me, I felt like I was ready to jump in that direction with him. But again, everything happens for a reason, and so this was another
There you
learning
go.
lesson.
Yes,
Another learning
indeed.
lesson for sure.
I love it.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we'll still catch up in our next shows coming up, and I'm
yes,
grateful that I have you as my brother, that we can walk this
absolutely.
journey together and go through these ups and downs and love and all that too. So,
Absolutely. She used that L word.
so
Y'all hear that? She
it
used that L word once again. And all the
whatever. So, or did you know? I listen. Everybody knows about it, but I thinking that it's timely because this is our election, everything election. But we have a couple things we're going to talk about before we dive into the election because that's where
yes.
we are right now. But my did you know? Can I say the D word? Diddy. Did
Did
you
it, did it,
know?
did it, did it, did
But
it.
this might not what everyone might not know of this. I'm going to read this off right here, and this is after my research because I wanted to get very clear of what I did not know. Here are the charges, y'all: racketeering, sexual trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, physical abuse, drug
Girl.
possession and distribution, obstruction of justice, using firearms. I didn't know all these charges was dropping onto him and Bad Boy Enterprise.
Yes.
And I believe that like I don't like TMZ. I don't like the gossip rags. I don't watch, but this is stuff that I need to, as a podcaster, and we talk about current event. I need to find out what the charges were. My mouth dropped to my lap. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going, well, okay, I didn't know it was all this. And
Mm-hmm.
I stayed away because I'm a YouTube. You know me. I love to go into the whole of YouTube. I
Right.
love spiraling
Right.
down. And whenever YouTube would come up, I just skipped over it because I'm like, okay, it's going to happen, whatever. But then when I looked it up, I'm like, dang. The other thing that got me was 100 bottles of baby oil.
1,000.
Oh, 1,000, excuse me, a
1,000
thousand bottles
balls.
of baby oil.
Girl.
Now check this out. And he says they got it at Costco, and Costco called up the feds and says, "Listen, we don't even sell baby oil." I'm like, "What?" Now it's
You
not
had
funny.
Costco. Costco came back and said, wait a minute.
Wait a minute,
That's
we
not
don't
what we
sell.
do.
I'm like, okay. I mean, wow. Whew. I'm sweating thinking about it. But another podcast, and we talk about Vibe Check all the time. They talked about this, and they said, sex parties happen.
Yes.
So part of this conversation we're having, I'm not listen. Sex parties, it's a part of life right now. But what I
Yes.
am saying is that we do need to talk about trafficking. We need to talk about the women that were in this space and were not, and men, some were not saying yes. There was no
That's right.
consent. And if you're
That's
moving
right.
people from country to country to have sex, come on.
You know you doing something wrong if you moving people from country to country. Come on now. Come on now.
Yes.
Listen. Listen. I have these types of situations, especially in Black culture and the Black community,
Yep.
this hits home for me, right? As many people that have read my book know, like, I am a survivor of sexual abuse as a teenager, right? From a church-going, church-fearing, religious person, right? So when I started hearing about this, my immediate thought was, why are we surprised? Why are we surprised? These things have been happening in every culture, sure, but especially in Black communities. We've talked about this on our podcast before. TD Jakes got, is wrapped up in this stuff. There's all these big name famous people that we have been looking up to, that we have put on these pedestals, that are in Hollywood, and musicians and authors and all these other things, right? We've put them at that elevation. And they've been doing these things behind closed doors. These freak off parties, or whatever they were called, these are things that have been happening for years. And and people knew about it. People knew about it. Jay-Z is also named as being there. Beyonce's named as being there.
But they came back with the lawsuit. Now we got to allegedly, we're going to say, don't sue us, Beyonce.
Right.
But they had to put an apology up there.
Right. So I'm not surprised. I think listen, I'm a firm believer. If you doing the dirt, then you need to be caught and you need to be prosecuted. I don't care who you are, right? Like, right is right, fair is fair, and the law is the law. You had people living in his home like Usher, when Usher was a young child. You had, which is why, what's that boy's name that I don't really care for? Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber separated himself from Diddy. Helped him with his career, but behind closed doors, we didn't necessarily know what was going on, and Justin Bieber was a child. So Justin Bieber separated himself and then went a little cuckoo. Why do you think he went a little cuckoo from time to time? He had that on his spirit and on his mind.
Yeah.
This is just my own.
His name is Terry Dyer, yo.
Shush it up. Listen, I can go on and on and on about this topic, but I'm saying, you did the crime. It's time for him to do the time. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh, well, I am, and before we close out this, did you know, we jump into yours. I am finding myself praying for all those who are victimized.
100%.
And I want to hold the high consciousness and that they get the help they need as they're going through this very challenging time. And then me personally, I question, like, there's so much bad boy music that I love. I love by so many artists, Mary J. Blige, 411. I mean, there's a lot of different, Biggie. So, all right. Time for us to move on. What's your did you know, brother?
Woo, you just got my skin crawling about Mr. Diddy and this topic. All right, so my did you know is, we've talked about athletics a lot on our podcast, and we've talked about, one of the biggest issues in athletics is the transgender community and the transgender issue. So did you guys know that there is another transgender athlete issue in the NCAA? The last one we talked about was the swimmer, and she unfortunately lost her cases against the NCAA, but this time it hits a little home for me, because it's not only one of my very first sports and what I went to college to play is volleyball, but it involves San Jose State, which is very close to what I call home in San Francisco. So her name is Blair Fleming, and she is a redshirt senior outside right side hitter. People probably don't know what that means, but that's okay. Now, obviously, as a senior, she has been on the team for several years now. So why? Why is this an issue now? All y'all been playing against her for the last few years, and now all of a sudden it's an issue? So not one single person has complained over the last few years about playing against a transgender person. People knew this. So my question is, what's the issue all of a sudden, right? So here's the other point that I found very fascinating in some of these reports and what people were saying online. She's not even one of the best players on the team, right? So it is reported that she's like second or third best maybe third best on the team. So universities in San Jose State's conference are now forfeiting all of their matches this season against San Jose State. So what do you think about this?
I think it's number one. Let me speak to why this is a hot topic right now because of the fact that we were leading up in the Olympics, and this was a hot topic with our swimmer,
Mhm.
Thomas. Her
Mhm.
last name is Thomas, Leah Thomas, and it,
Leah
it
Thomas.
got
Yeah.
really hot, and then it really exploded to this space where we wrote about it in our column. It was CNN reported, all the news was reporting about this because the women the U.S. women's swim team said we're going to walk away from this allegedly. So I think the
Yes.
media blew it up, but
Yep.
it's still a topic where if we really begin to look at the issue, there is a need for inclusivity. And how do we
Absolutely.
include, no matter what gender you are or what gender you identify as, everyone should have the ability to participate. How
100%.
do we begin to make I want to say a league or we a conference in NAACP or not in NAACC or in what is it?
NCAA.
NCAA. Too many
NCAA.
damn acronyms. You know how many
Look,
acronyms I
she'll
gotta
get it,
remember
y'all. She'll
these
get it at
days.
some point, y'all. She'll
But
get
but
it at
here's the
some point.
story, and watching this and how the women are dominating in college athletics, I believe it's going to continue to be a hot topic until
Yeah.
we look at this. And some people are saying we should have an all gender league where
Yeah.
every gender, no matter what it is, can participate.
So here's what's also fascinating, right? The NCAA supposedly tried to create a separate division for trans athletes, and none of the trans athletes felt safe or comfortable to start competing in a completely different division. That's like saying, and I'm going there. That's like saying, we got this white sport called tennis, but all you black people go play over there. Am I mistaken, or is
No,
like
but here's the truth. And my father was a professional baseball player, and he was only allowed to play in the minor leagues. He made it to Triple
right,
A, and
right,
he played
right?
for Tampa Bay Islanders, and he was
Mm-hmm.
was a farm team for the for St. Louis Cardinals. He was
Mm,
able to. He was so good, and they denied him to go up into major leagues because they've already had the quota number.
Dakota,
The
yeah,
Negro League was created because they didn't have the opportunity to play. And
right,
so I'm not
right.
saying it's right, but what I am saying, we have to have a conversation of how do we include everyone and give them the right to play. Listen,
Yeah.
I believe creating a separate league is another form of segregation. But
Agreed,
what do we do?
agreed.
And if we're not willing to have this conversation in the midst of our athletes and saying, what do you think the we're getting this conversation and it feels like we're not really talking about what is the solution.
Right. I think that's it, right? Like nobody's really coming up truly with a solution for this, right? It's basically like this is what it is. Like you can either take this or not, right?
Yeah,
The other thing that I find very fascinating is we covered this when the Olympics were coming up.
we
But
did.
American middle distance runner, right, specializing in the 1500, Nikki Hiltz,
Right.
excuse me. Came out and said that she identified as a transgender athlete. Like, but we still supported, and she went to the Olympics and all that other kind of stuff. Nobody said anything, right? The World Indoor Championship, she won a silver medal for the United States. Y'all didn't say nothing about that then, did you? So where's the divide here? What's equal? What's not? What's fair? What's not?
But as we close down this segment, one thing I do want to say is as we continue to evolve, I had this incredible download. Reverend Michael Beckwith, he is our spiritual leader here in at Agape, where I'm a minister, part of the Agape community. And he said that we must be willing to have an expansive thought. We are expanding. And as we continue to expand and these conversations have never been really spoke about in public, this is where we're going to land in. The work is, are we willing to continue to expand or push it under the closet or push it back in the closet? What are we
Right.
willing to do?
I mean, essentially, times have changed, and we as individuals have to change along with those times.
Yes, indeed. Let's take a breath here, and y'all, we're going to take a little bit of a break, but when we come back, we're going to drop into the grits and glitter of this episode. We talking about everything election. So
It's
make
that
sure you come back.
time.
Hey, y'all, welcome back. Oh my goodness, Terry, you ready for this election season? Because we are already in it. We are already in it.
Child, I'm nervous. That's what I am.
What are you
I
nervous
am
about?
nervous.
Talk to me. What are you nervous about?
Listen, this is one of the closest elections. There's a lot of different dynamics. There's race, there's gender issues along with this, there's misogyny, there's all these issues, right? Around. There's policy issues, there's this, there's that. There's just so much that is encompassed in different dynamics in this election. So it makes me nervous, right? Keep following
Okay.
CNN and the points here, the points there, who's
Yeah.
ahead, who's not. Whew, it makes me nervous.
I think the great thing is that we're willing to have a conversation about this election. Everyone's talking about it, but I thought it would be very important, especially this episode and the coming up episodes. We're going to be talking about the election and the aftermath, the readiness of after the election. But a couple things I want to read for you right here. A couple of the things that I've done a little bit of research, and it says this: as of October 2024, the political race is extremely close, and that's where we are. We know that. Everyone's been saying that. This race between Vice President Kamala Harris and, of course, former President Donald Trump, and the polls are both showing this that they're neck to neck in the votes, and that like blows my mind. I'm like going, how can you be neck to neck with what's going on? But it also says his Harris holds a strong advantage among non-white voters and women, which we know that. And while Trump is still leading with white voters and men, most significantly, the election is winding down. The gap is winding down. Is extremely close with Congress and what's happening with Congress, and it's like neck to neck. This race is going to be defined, it says, is going to be defined by undecided and independent voters.
Agree with that.
We are in
Absolutely agree
this
with that.
space, and this is what my conversation to me in my head is. I don't see what y'all not getting. If you're undecided and you are not,
Yeah.
you listen, Linda, as we like to say on this show, you can either vote for a felon, someone who has been
Hard.
convicted, someone who
Right.
is a misogynist, someone who has been convicted for sexual improprieties, fraud. I don't get these men who are saying it's okay. The other thing that
It's not
gets
even
me
just
is as
it's not even just the men. It's also women
yeah.
that are
Well, I'm going to bring that
supporting
up.
this, right?
I was going
It is
to.
women.
But here's the thing, too. As a reverend, it's Christian church folks,
Of course.
and
Of course.
so this is the thing that's been boggling my mind. That you have people who want to be followers of Christ, but yet you can vote for someone who's unlike, so close, not like Christ. So that's what has been really looming around me. I'm like going, I don't get it, but yet I do get it. One thing I did hear, it was Nikki Giovanni said this, and also Dr. Joy DeGruy says this, that this is a reactionary. Trump was a reactionary to Obama. So the reaction to we had 8 years of brother in the White House, we're going to
Right.
revert back to something safer,
Correct.
which is not that
Correct.
safe.
Correct. I will never understand the level of support that people can give someone that is clearly going against you as an individual, right?
Yep.
This man is, as you stated, a convicted felon. Like he is touched women, he is sexually assaulted, he is abused, he has done this. We just talked about Diddy, and everybody's ready to throw him under the jail, right?
Yep.
But we're not doing that with this person. Power, money, begs the question too. Diddy has money. Diddy has power. So why is what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander? We ready to crucify Diddy, but we're not ready to crucify this man? I don't understand it.
So,
I
how
don't.
is this election, brother? We need to let's talk about this. How is this election so important for Black queer folks in your
Ooh.
eyes?
I mean, we know that he's got all of these, things that he wants to put into legislation to take away the rights of
Mhm.
people that look like us, right? What he wants to take away from the transgender community and healthcare and all these other things, right? I, we have to stand up, right? We will be going like 30, 40, 50, 60 years backwards if this man is elected, right? Project 2025,
Mhm.
right? We know, we read it. Oh, and then in the election, oh, that's not my people, or I didn't write that. I didn't.
Yeah. So that is a dangerous
Child.
part of Project 2025 because when you read it, you're going, well, this can't happen. And people are
Right,
going, oh, this is not, there's no way he can do this. There's no way he can wipe
right.
out Congress or wipe out the congressional side of policy. There's no
Correct,
way. No one can. And guess
correct.
what? It is possible. And
Oh, of
I think the
course.
biggest, what was that movie? I think it was Reservoir Dogs that the greatest thing with the devil that can convince people that it didn't exist. I forgot. I love that movie. I should know that. But that was the greatest thing that we're thinking it can happen and watch it does happen. For
Yep.
me, I believe, and it's already been said by Judge Thomas that the next rights they're going after, they went after women's rights. The next rights they're going after is going to be queer rights. And then
Right.
after that, it's going to be black rights. So this is about rights. This is about our right to live. I am so in with Beyonce's freedom on this campaign. And it's
Yep.
okay. It's okay for us to say we are in alignment with Kamala. I am in alignment with Kamala. This podcast is
100%.
in alignment with Kamala. It's okay to say
We
it.
are.
We,
We stand with her. We stand with her. 100%.
yes.
I really, I will say, I've not always been the biggest political person, but this year I have been, and it's funny because, not funny, but when his first, I still call him Cheeto, when he first had his first assassination attempt, when he was standing on the stage and the bullets grazed his ear and he stood up and said, "You ain't black. Put your fist down." That we claimed that. Put your fist down. I wanted to reach through that TV screen. That is not your moment. That is John Smith in the put your fist down. So I, for some reason, my political mind and interest completely switched from that moment forward. My friends and family were like, okay, it's enough. Like you've become obsessed with like tracking and watching everything that was coming after his attempted assassination, right? I think this man really wants to put us in this space of like, he wants to be the last person in power. He wants to be the almighty God himself. And again, what gets me is that there are people in this country that are supporting that effort. They're supporting that thought process. They are supporting his approach to democracy. It blows my mind. It
Yeah.
blows my mind. So for me, I am like, what do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? What
Yeah.
do I need to rally? I just signed up for HRC's phone bank in a couple of weeks. Like, what else I got to do? Because there is going to be so much ramification, negative ramification, if this
Yeah.
man gets into office, and I don't think people are thoroughly like reading between the lines in terms of what will happen if he gets back into office.
Yeah, you know what? This is a great segue to talk about what we can do to make a difference because we can speak about it in a podcast. And you were signing up for a phone bank. I'm also part of the social media team, so I've dropped into the trainings. I've been going through trainings and how do we engage online. And part of the things I got to be honest with you, a couple of the first posts that I did engage or did post had some negativity, and it scared me.
Of
I'm like,
course. Of course.
ooh,
Of
okay. So
course.
how do I engage in that? But it's worth it because then I look at my family's from Selma, and they were there at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and some of my family were trampled on and beat up for the rights. And I can't be afraid to give a little post on social media
Absolutely.
because this is the vote for our life. We're
That's right.
voting for our life. We're voting for the freedom to love who we love. We're voting for the freedom to have an economic equality because there's a disparity in our
Oh,
economy.
absolutely. I
And
mean,
so we're
healthcare,
voting
the healthcare for trans people, right? We're voting for that equality in
women's
healthcare,
rights,
right?
women's health.
Women's rights. Y'all hear that? Women, this man wants to take away your rights. Like I don't, it just it boggles my mind that women want to support and put this man in office.
I love this idea, and I love Coach Waltz. I'm in. Coach, I'm in.
Yes.
But he said something that was very important to me because I've always felt this. It doesn't matter what my personal view is about abortion or whatever. Every woman has the right, and the government does not have the right to go into the bedroom saying this is how we need to do it. We have to keep because, and I know part of my personal experience around this has been ingrained since me growing up in the church. And so when you get down to it and you talk about your personal feelings and you don't believe in this, fine. If you don't believe in abortion, don't have one. But what I do believe is in absolute freedom to love who you love, to take care of your body, the right to buy homes where you want to buy homes. And so part of this is about freedom. For me, it's about freedom.
I agree. At the end of the day, nobody should have a say over what you do with your body. As
Yeah.
a male, female, whatever you want to call it. Like nobody has the right to make that decision for you. That's my big thing. So I
So
agree. As Beyonce says, let's freedom, honey. Freedom.
so let's talk economy. Were you better
Mm-hmm.
off? Were you better off under Trump's administration, or here's what I always say: the Obama years were good to me, y'all. The Obama
100%.
years was so good, and
Absolutely.
I believe that part of this economy for me, I saw more growth under Biden than under Trump. Trump, it didn't do none for me. In fact, I was
Absolutely.
unemployed. I was like, what's going on here? And we also went through, we went through COVID, the beginning of COVID, and now, but here's the thing too that I believe the economy. I love her policies on having a tax cut for small business owners, new business owners, having a cut for for
First
people who
time
are
home
buying a house.
buyers.
And I gotta
Yep.
say this, I know some people are not gonna agree with this. My student loans were forgiven, thank you, Biden. And it was so
Hello.
funny. It was so funny. I had a conversation with our producer, Denise, and I was saying at this conversation is as I just wish Biden would just forgive my loans. And she sent me this whole thing, this whole joke, and this whole stand up around Biden forgiving loans and this and that and not forgiving loans and someone taking on their ex's loans. I just laughed. I went home and I prayed because I'm a praying minister, and I said, Lord, forgive these loans so that I can expand. Guess what happened? Won't he do
Again,
it?
won't he do it?
Hello.
Won't he do
Hello.
it?
God's good all the time. Let me tell you something. I went
Listen.
home that next day, that Monday, and I went to my student loan, student financial aid, the thing that houses everything. And I
Yep.
was okay. I'm just going to see what it is. And it might not be done, but whatever. Clicked on, it said, your balance is zero. I
Hmm.
screamed. I went, what? I think I text you. I danced.
You
I went, oh
did.
my God.
You
I
did.
text my family. My family were all shouting. I've been paying student loans since I graduated in 1992.
Right.
And I had all these loans that were not good percentage,
Yeah. Yeah.
the interest. I was paying on those loans. I had paid almost $200,000 since 1992, and I
Girl,
still had 75,000 to pay. And I'm going, Lord have mercy, and Lord have mercy, Charles. Student loan.
I know
Thank
my
you,
brother did
Biden.
the same. My brother did the same thing, and I have yet to take advantage. I know it's still there. I know I heard that you can still do it. I need to get on the bandwagon, honey, and get mine done because she has multiple degrees. So that is
Yes.
multiple schools, multiple loans. The scholarship money only went so far, honey. She
Yes.
needs to get those
Yes.
down, honey. So yeah, no, I agree that that needs to be, I would say from an economic perspective, I agree with you. I think we have seen what the economy, how it grew under Obama, and then, it's come back
Yeah.
a little bit under Biden and that sort of thing. But let's be real, Obama was handed a plate of problems, crap, right? I want to say the S word, but I won't curse on our podcast. And then, we
We can
went
get
through
the E
four
rating if you want
years
to.
we went through 4 years of Cheeto, right? And then Biden came in, was handed crap once again, right? So people don't thoroughly realize it takes time
Yeah.
to clean up, right? Things don't
Yeah.
happen overnight. I watch these debates and they're talking about, oh, you've had 3 years to do this. Do you know how these economic turnarounds, how long
Yeah.
that takes? It's like changing culture. Right? It's like being in a workforce and trying to change your company culture. Those things take years,
Yeah.
right? And I think
Yeah.
people are forgetting that these aren't miracle workers. They're not going to come in and wave a wand like Harry Potter and just be like, poof, be
Yes.
gone. Like, it don't work that way, people, right? Like, it
Hey,
takes time. And I
I
think
agree 100%.
yeah, like
You know,
they've made
brother.
change in headways, but
Yeah.
again, like that's what
Takes
happens when you
time.
have a dictator in place that changes and flips things
Yeah.
out on their head, right?
Hey, brother, hold that thought because we're going to take a break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the challenges that Kamala will have for winning and after she wins. Now, I'm claim it.
Absolutely.
My mama once said, claim it, claim it, claim
Come
it.
on,
So
Auntie
I'm
Max.
claiming
Come
it.
on, Auntie
You know,
Max. Claim your time. Claim your
so here we
time.
go. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back after this message. Hey, y'all, welcome back to Grits and Glitter, the podcast. And we're talking about everything election. So Kamala's challenges, that's what we're going to dive into. What do you feel are these challenges that Kamala has going into this position? Of course, there's never been a female president before. But
You
I'm
just said it.
saying we're breaking
That's
we're breaking some grounds here. What do you think are some of the challenges that we see, and how can we overcome those challenges?
you just said to me the biggest challenge. She's a female. She's a female. And we have
Not
not
that she's
had
black, or not that
any
she's
now
multiracial.
I think it now I think it's both, right?
Okay.
But I think because we've already had a person of color in the head seat, like we've shaved off or we've kind of turned the corner just a tad with respects to Obama being multiracial. But then her coming along is she's got the gender part of it, right? So
Yeah.
for me, I think that's her biggest challenge is people can't get past the fact that she's female, and again, it blows my mind that females aren't saying, I know what we're capable of. Let me help a woman get into office. We know how to run stuff. We this, we that. You should be helping your gender get into office to run stuff like we know she can do, right? She's clearly proven herself as a female prosecutor. She's proven
Yeah.
herself as a multiracial woman. I don't think that, my opinion, I don't think that America is ready quite yet for a female president. I don't think they can get past the fact that she's female.
And listen, I'm going to push back on this. I think we are really ready. I think here's the thing that I believe, and everyone's saying it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Yeah.
I am so optimistic. We got to work for it. Trust me. Do not stop working. We got to work. I'm in a place where we're going to be surprised how many people actually show up because the message is getting out. The message is getting out there. And I believe for me, her challenge is going to be in being California, and I have been a fan of Kamala for so long. She was one of the greatest senators our state has ever seen, one of the greatest, prosecutors we've ever seen. And I remember I was in a predatory loan for my first home, and I was in a balloon predatory alone. It was going to expand, and I saw what she did for the people. I believe that part of her problem is going to be her own voice. Because everyone keeps saying, we don't know anything about her. What? What do you mean? She's been doing everything that she says she's going to do, and she's been doing, and now she wants to do more. So I don't know if they're not ready for a woman president. I don't think they're giving her the opening to do what she wants to do. I mean, how she's going to her policies. If I hear one more person say, "I wish she would speak more policy," I'm gonna shake them. I'm gonna shake them. She's been talking policy. She's been talking policy. I saw her on The View because I love me some View. I love me some Whoopi. She was magnificent. I am so loved how she carried herself, and I love her laugh. And and they showed the clip of Maya Rudolph. Have you seen the clip on
Playing
Saturday Night
her.
Live? I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I
I think
love
what
it.
she does is, I think she, to me, is very similar to Obama. She knows how to speak to people, your
Yeah.
everyday average Joe Schmo on the street. Kamala does an incredible job of reaching those folks. What she has to do, in my opinion, what you know who is out there doing is he's helping the rich get richer. He's
Yeah.
helping the rich stay rich, right? So I think she's got to figure out how to speak to those people and change their mindset about the type of economy that she's going to run, right? That's what I think also has to happen. I will also say, and I've had this conversation a few times over the last the last few weeks since her one and only debate with Cheeto. I loved that debate. I know you did too, because we talked about it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
That
It
she
was
was
amazing.
fantastic. The only thing, and this is me nitpicking and griping just a little bit, right? Because I don't want anybody to be like, oh, there's that, right? Oh, there's that. I didn't want her to necessarily poke at him because I don't ever want her to come across as the angry black woman. And I feel like, again, my opinion, there was a couple of like her kind of nudging and edging him and poking him a little bit. And, when he would say something or she would have a facial reaction to it, I'm like, don't give him that. Don't give him that. Because they're going to look and be like, oh, there she goes. Look, we can't have somebody in office like that. Oh, look at her making fun or having a facial expression. Da, da, da. And let's be real. We obviously know he was doing it, right? We know he was making fun and rolling his face or his eyes and, of course, but we expect that buffoonery from him. We don't expect that from her. And so that was my only little
Yeah.
nitpick was,
And
ooh, don't give them any ounce.
we've talked about it. I loved it. There was a meme that was going around Michelle Obama, just like, I'm so glad we went from when they go low, we go high to girl, and she's pull off her earrings.
Exactly.
Where's my earrings? Because I believe, here's me about that we are always taking the high road,
We
and
are.
yet it's not landing with people going, well, why isn't she fighting? Some things were
Right.
so damn ridiculous, and I almost
Agreed.
cursed, and we almost got the E rating. Like, they're eating the cats and dogs, and I got a problem with that. People on
I
Facebook and
know.
on TikTok dancing to that. Stop dancing to eating the dogs and cats, because you are taking this racist rhetoric, remixing it, and you're putting it on social media, and now we're making fun of it. It's not
Yeah.
funny.
I know.
So when she gave me that face, like, are you kidding me? She gave me that are you kidding me face? You can't put rhetoric out here and lies, and he's still lying. Sometimes you gotta give that sister look. Like,
Agreed. Don't get me
really.
wrong.
I
Don't get
know,
me
I know, I know,
wrong.
I know, I know.
Don't get me
It's like,
wrong. I
I loved
I
it.
joke
I'd say
sometimes and
go
tell
girl.
look, I joke sometimes and tell people, look, don't let the prettiness fool you, honey. She was born in a project. She will take these earrings off
You
and we can get it
know.
crunk if we need to.
You
However,
know. Yep.
I know. I listen, and you talked about Coach Walls. Listen, I don't think Coach Walls did an incredible job at his debate. I think what I did love about the debate is the level of respect. There was a sense of mutual respect between the two of them. They played nice. That's what I loved about the debate between the two running VPs, right? Like they played nice with each other. They kept it at a respectable level. They didn't agree on everything. They obviously disagreed on certain things or whatever. But even in the end, they came back and kind of closed it with this level of thank you so much. Heard you. Blah blah. I loved that because that told me there is still a sense of integrity and grace and dignity that can be had in this election.
Yeah, but I get that. But here's the thing: when we fact check Vance, it was crazy how many
Oh, I
lies he
agree.
told. And he's a
Oh,
master
100%.
debater from Harvard who's like, and I agree with you, but here's another lie. I agree with
Right.
you. Here's another lie. And so
Right.
for me, I'm
Totally.
listening, I'm watching this, I'm going, hold up, hold up, hold up. So anyway, we're getting to, we'll have more to talk about next episode, but more
Absolutely.
election because we're going to not leave y'all out there. We want to support you, have this conversation. I love this segment. This is still my favorite segment, and we get to do it again. Who's making a difference? That's where we are. We're in Who's Making a Difference. Yay! Because we believe in making a difference on this planet. The one group that I'm going to bring to light, and I love me some Michelle Obama. You know how much I love Obama? I love Michelle more than I love Barack. Maybe I love them evenly, I think. But Michelle,
I know.
I love me
I
some Michelle.
know.
She was so good at the convention. I was like, yeah, do something. Do
No.
something.
I
She has an organization online. It's called When We Vote.
know.
And you can go to whenwevote.org. And it's all about getting people excited about getting to the polls, young people. Because I believe one of the disservices that we've ever done in education when we stopped doing civil classes or civics classes. When we
Yes.
stop talking about how a bill is made, remember, what was it? ABC did Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill. Only I can't sing too much because we're gonna actually owe some money to ABC, so we don't do
Trying to
that.
pay for
But
that. Stop that.
civics classes are so important. We have to be able to teach our kids how important to prepare them. I believe we gotten out of teaching the importance of government and your voice matters. So when we vote, it's launched by Michelle Obama. This organization is dedicated to increasing participation in every election. And we got to vote down ballot too.
Yeah.
We have to
Yep.
vote down ballot. We have to vote everywhere. If it's a dog catcher, vote for the dog catcher. Your
Agreed.
voice matters. And I was watching on YouTube. Here I am in the YouTube hole again. Just her passion for getting people to vote. Your voice matters. So, whenwevote.org, go check it out, get some information, and get it going. Yes.
Well, even though this is the episode about the election, however, I want to highlight because we've talked about healthcare quite a bit as we were talking about the election and so forth. But I want to highlight a new healthcare facility that, in my opinion, is making a huge difference and impact in our community. They're called Mayfair Medical, and they recently opened in South Florida in 2 locations in Miami and Broward counties. They are founded by 2 incredible, 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 amazing individuals, Morgan and Ashley Mayfair. They see patients regardless of their ability to pay. They are getting the most marginalized and vulnerable members of our communities the healthcare resources that they need, and that's incredibly important in this day and age. As we try to, get past certain healthcare disparities, as we try to end the HIV epidemic by 2030, so what they're doing is absolutely amazing for our community. The most glaring difference that I have noticed that sets them apart from other providers is that they are truly patient focused. Now, we all know there are lots of other healthcare facilities out there that say they're patient focused, but you get there and it's number, get in, get out, right? That's not Mayfair Medical. And I think that is such a huge part of what makes them who they are and what they stand for. So kudos, and congratulations to the Mayfairs and their new amazing clinics in both Broward and Miami-Dade. They're also
And
opening in Atlanta, but I didn't cover
yeah, I was
that.
going to
But
say there are plans to
they're
go to
opening in
Georgia,
Atlanta as well. Yep, they're opening in Atlanta,
and
where
what
a
I've
lot of our
read
marginalized communities are. So
and what I've heard, and I don't quote me on this, but I heard they're looking to go across the country. Like
absolutely,
LA needs some. We need some focus,
absolutely,
patient focus clinics. So celebration. This is a good time. This is a great time. This is a
yes,
great
yes,
time. I am
yes.
grateful that this is happening. T brother,
Yes, brother. Yes.
you know this is powerful, and I do need to go probably take a lavender shower because elections get me all tied up in my feels and stuff. I need to go and relax. Like after this show, I'm gonna actually light up my incense
Oh, she
and
went to the
go and
incense, y'all. She went
you
to the
know I had to.
incense.
I gotta go meditate. I gotta get out of my feelings in this because that's why I don't really watch election because it gets me all.
Yeah. Yes.
But
Tense. Yeah.
it's very important conversation that we have to have. So I'm grateful that we're back in it, brother.
We are back live and yes, in color.
In color, and one thing I'm going to drop into the feed. Stay tuned to our socials because we're going to be in Palm Springs live.
We
Remember?
will.
We're
Yes, in
taking the
just a
show
couple of
live to Palm
weeks.
Springs the end of
Yes.
October. More
Yes.
information will drop into our program notes. More information coming down the line. And make sure
Yes.
you follow us on social media. We are Grits and Glitter, the pod. And Grits is with a Z, not an S,
The
baby. And we're on social
got some
media.
flair, honey.
You know. And website, guess what? Hello.
It's
Check out our
here.
website. It's
It's
here.
here.
Grits and Glitter, thepod.com. I'm so grateful. I'll get to do this journey with you, brother.
Yes, absolutely. Even though we're now by coastal, we still
I
here.
know. I know. Well, peace and blessings, everyone. And as we always say, be kind. Why, Terry?
Yes. Because it's free.
Because it's free. Until next time, peace and blessings, y'all.
See y'all soon.